Along comes the food companies and they say, we have found a way to produce plenty more food. If we genetically modify the food and we plant it, we'll get a bigger supply. If we keep the weeds down, we'll get a bigger supply. So we genetically modify it
to withstand the weed killer.
so we could spray it with the weed killer, and we don't have to worry, we don't have to employ a whole heap of people to prepare the land and thing. We could, just before we could spray, vamp, kill the weed, put up the crop. If the weed come up in the middle of the crop, we could spray the crop and it will kill the weeds and leave the crop.
Right. The advances of modern science.
Yes. Everybody say, "Yay!"
Yeah.
But it is a weed killer.
Yeah. And
How does it kill the weed? So let us look at this weed killer. If you have a farm, small farm, and you say, okay, I have a farm and I want to grow one thing, and somebody come, guy who will sell you fertilizer and thing, and you say, I have this weed killer. You don't have to go and hire anybody to cut the weeds. All you need to do is to buy a spray can, buy this, put it in some water, and spray it. And you could spray that whole thing in a day and kill all the weeds. And the weeds ain't growing for another few months.
6 months.
So your tomatoes and everything will grow nice, and I will sell you genetically modified tomatoes. So you don't have to worry about it affecting the tomatoes. Right? So you do that and you say, beautiful. Now let us say that you're living in a country, you don't have a pipe-borne supply. So you have a pond. And your pond gets fed by a spring coming down. Right? So the pond has clear water in it. So this is good drinking water. But the rain fall and it washed down some of the weed killer into the pond. And in the pond, like any other pond, you have a whole set of frogs, little froggies, you know, providing food for all the other thing. They eat up the insects and the mosquitoes, and then other predators come and eat them up, the bats or whatever, and the thing, and you have a nice cycle going. So your wife come and get pregnant. You tell she, well, she had come in a little boy, but she's drinking water from that pond. Now, if you're very observant, you will notice that after 6 months of spraying your weeds, all your frogs in that pond has become female frogs. They have no male frogs again. Male frogs have to migrate from outside. And they'll find it, they have a whole pond of female frogs. Them fellas will find it, don't worry. You know. So
to stay long enough, them going to end up females.
Yeah, them going to end up females too. So she drinking the water, same water that the frogs drinking, and she have a boy, and they say, oh, nice and thing. When that baby born, that baby boy, it is born with a microphallus, a little penis like that, and it start like it won't have a slit underneath.
So he can't play sports at all.
He can't play nothing, right? Within the last few years, I've had people, you know, woman coming by me one day and she says, I bring my son to show you something. I say, and I want to find out if we could do anything about it. So what's that? She tell him, take off your shirt. Take off your shirt, let the doctor see. So finally she grab hold of the jersey and she do so. Boom! When she do so, the little 11-year-old boy have 2 breasts, like a woman.
Yeah.
So I look at her. I say, she say, I can't understand, you know, I just feed them healthy and all kind of things.
Yeah, see?
No. Yeah, she feed them chicken, right? Or you eat chicken 3-4 times a week. So not only does he have breasts, but the hips also filling out, right? And then on top of that, she don't give him ordinary milk because he's allergic to that. So somebody tell her that soy milk is good. So she's been feeding him soy milk. Estrogen. So I tell her, I say, well, is you make your boy get that? I say, and it have another reason why he can't play football in school because it is have a community locker room, and he don't dare take off his pants
Or you Jersey.
or his jersey. She said, well, why not his pants? I said, because his pee small.
Everybody gonna make fun of
I say, and he gonna get fatigued till doomsday.
Yeah.
The lady sit down in my office and she started to cry.
Yeah.
She said me to say, I make my son like that? Right?
Yeah, because you're not paying attention to what they're feeding the children.
And that is not a one-off. Another time, guy come in my office, he bring his son. Son is about 16 or 17 years old. And he tell me, I want to ask you if you could do anything about this. Take off your jersey, let him see. And he do so. And when he take off his jersey, I'm not kidding you, this 17-year-old boy had breasts like a woman.
Okay.
So you know me, I like to be a little bit funny. I said, boy, I could enter you into a competition. I just had to ban up your face so that nobody can see. You know, it's perfect women breasts, women-shaped breasts.
And this all comes from the weed killer.
Yes.
The endocrine disruptive
That-
chemical. Yeah.
The estrogen that they put in the chicken to get it fat,
Yeah.
right? And you could go on and on and
the
on.
steroids.
And the steroids. So you begin to see there's a whole total connection going on,
Yes.
right? I mean, we're doing prostate.
Yes. But we're making the connections.
20 years ago in Miami, if I send somebody for a prostate reading, I expect to get back a sperm count, 180 million if the guy is very healthy, if he used to live out in the country plenty. If you living in the town, 100 million, 120 million. 90% of it good, right? Nowadays, somebody come, they can't get pregnant, woman come and she can't get pregnant. The first thing I do is to bring your husband. Come and say, go for a sperm count. You know how we macho. Everything good with me, man. We on about. I just break and think. And I started to tell him, I say, listen, let me tell you something. I'm not interested in whether you're climaxing or not, and whether you're breaking or not. I want to know whether you're shooting blanks or whether you're shooting real bullets. And they go and get a sperm count. Sometimes they might go to the doctor, Western doctor. Oh, 40 million, that is good.
Okay. So from 180 down to 40.
Down to 40, right? Now, so that is a decrease down to less than 30%. And nobody is saying that, but I watching that in my lifetime, not in the last 25 years. And now, glyphosate and everything, you could expect it to go down even faster. So if I live for the next 10 years, I expect to see people with sperm count of 5 million, if you're lucky. But I ain't finished the punchline yet. When you look at the 40 million, the fellow who do it, he say 50% have bent heads,
Right, so that's 20 million.
25%, 20% have bent tails, right? Another 5-10% immobile, right? And then you might say, and you leave your 5%.
Right.
And you say, these appear to be good,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So there's a blank shirt, right?
So it means that he have 5 million, and looking at them in the microscope, they kind of look like they're all right.
Yeah. They might make it.
And that's just one way you could see them swimming. It's not one way you could look in detail and blow him up and see if he have real irregularities that are not showing up inside the swimming. So he doing things. Week before last, I had a lady come to me. She said, I can't get pregnant. She said, I went to the doctor. They checked her for polycystic ovaries, fibroids, endometriosis, all kind of estrogen limits and all kind of thing. And
They do the work.
yeah, and CAT scan and all kind of things. And after about 3 months, they tell her, they say, we don't know if the problem is you, go and bring your husband. When they bring the husband and they measure him, he working in a petrochemical company. Where's his sperm count?
2%?
Zero.
Zero?
Zero. The same sperm there, but all of them dead. They can't move. And she now fuming because she spent about $20,000. And she said, why didn't they get my husband
Earlier.
first time?
Yeah.
Right?
So somebody with a zero sperm count.
So, about 3 months ago, couple come. So I tell her, I say, go get your husband. They're living up in the country. Far out. Send him for a sperm count. And he come back with his sperm count. And when I do so, and I look at it, I can't believe what I'm reading.
180.
165 million.
Okay.
And everything swimming.
Yeah.
Right?
No bent head.
So I tell him, I say, where you living? He said, I living up north by the sea. And we ain't living, we living in a ranch up in a little bit in the forest.
Yeah.
So he grew up, the only time he come out is to go to school.
Right.
Other than that, he up inside there.
Right.
So he say, everything that he eat, they grow.
On the farm, yeah. Or purely organic.
And they don't bother to spray because that's too expensive. That has cut down on the profits of the farm.
Right.
So I tell him, I say, listen, I say, when you walk out the road, do me a favor. I say, with that kind of sperm count,
Don't watch nobody.
don't look at nobody. I say, just don't even look. I say, because just the idea of looking at that sperm count, you might get people pregnant across the road. So they start to laugh, you know. So I tell the girl, I say, nothing wrong, just be thing, you know. She had irregular periods. I give her some herbs and things to regulate the periods and to raise the egg count and thing. And they go on. They come back a couple of months later and she's pregnant. You think? So you begin to understand. We're talking about prostate. But once you start talking about what causing the prostate to be swollen, you look and you see the same thing that causing the women. And we even finished talk about the pesticides and things that you're spraying, and what happens not only to the man but to the woman, and how it ends up causing cancer. Because everybody know about it. You do the research.
I remember coming across an article where the doctor who did the research on the frogs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was a big company that hired him. When he published the results, they fired him.
Did the same one time.
They fired
It's a
him.
woman. I know somewhere on my bookshelves. I have a book with the research that she did. But I had to go and sit down. It's not a big book. It's a small booklet. And you say, all right, we have swollen prostate. Where are we getting this swollen prostate from? Why are we having all this thing? And why does it go to cancer? And then you see, well, the fungicide, the herbicide, when it gets into the system, it forms a thing called aromatase. When aromatase gets into the system, it attacks the testosterone because it is to alter the system in order to kill what it is it's doing. Well, it also alters your system too, because that aromatase, when it gets into your system, it changes your testosterone into dihydrotestosterone, a synthetic form of dihydrotestosterone, not a natural form. Because when you're young and you reach puberty, all of a sudden you just bust out crazy. That's because your body just take the testosterone and make dihydrotestosterone, but there's a natural one. And what that does do? That is turn you into a raving maniac.
Yes.
You're in the bathroom 20 times a day and it's not to urine.
The drive to reproduce.
Yes. So that stimulates that sex urge.
Yes.
When you get the aromatase, changing it to dihydrotestosterone is a synthetic kind of
It doesn't
dihydrotestosterone.
function in the same
So it
way.
doesn't function in the same way. In fact, it takes away the drive rather than makes it thing. And then the rest of the stuff changes it into estrogen. So you now have dihydrotestosterone and estrogen.
Okay, so them old men who always drinking their CMOS and doing all these little rituals of eating to make sure that they stay healthy, they onto something.
If they eat in vegetables that have pesticide and fungicide in it, eating CMOS will make it worse.
Okay.
Because CMOS have things inside it that will raise your testosterone.
Right.
Right?
And then that will produce more dihydrotestosterone.
You can't go and drink no Pacro water there, you're dead.
Alright, okay.
Right? Or Nanibwa.
Where you going?
You can't do none of that fat now, because when that testosterone come up, the aromatase will take it and make dihydrotestosterone, which means you will have a faster prostate swelling than a normal person.
Right. So you have to make sure that what you're eating is organic.
You have to make sure. And then I was reading Mercola from up north, and he says one of the things that you do, he says, when you buy vegetables and you're not, when I go to Miami, where I used to live, where my daughter living now, the first thing I do is I head for the health food shop. I go in the organic section. I had 2 fridges in the house, and my grandson will look at me and say, Grandpa and Chong, because the back fridge full of organic food.
Yes.
And my kind of organic food can be kind of real fancy sometimes, because I go in and buy all the fancy mushrooms. I love mushrooms. So all the lion mushrooms and all the things that you don't ever see here. When I get up next morning, it's to chip up and thing with my sweet pepper and thing and make omelette with free eggs, with free range eggs,
Yes.
right? And things like that. And I like that.
Yeah.
So when I'm here and I go in the market, the first thing I have to do when I pick up the vegetables is to do so. Because it has some people will spray the damn thing just before they bring it to the market, which makes it even worse. It doesn't even time to degrade. And we don't check that. You always say, do not spray this produce 2 weeks before carrying it to market. Then fellas just spray it 2 days.
Yeah.
So when you pick it down, you have to drop it down. You pick it up, you drop it down. It's so strong. Or sometimes, if you're going...
So sometimes you walk in the market and you get a funky smell.
Yes,
The whole market smell
yes, like a pesticide. Yes. So the thing that, now, what I used to do is to cut up my vegetables and soak it in hydrogen peroxide, which I thought is an oxidizer, and it oxidize the thing. But Mercola said that when he doing it, what he's put it in is sodium bicarbonate.
Okay, that will be a
Baking soda.
stronger reactor.
Yes, because it's very strongly alkaline, and all the pesticides are very strongly acidic.
So it will neutralize.
Yes. So he said, put a teaspoon of sodium bicarbonate, and then you have a problem with the sodium bicarbonate, because a lot of the bicarbonates that you have on the shelf
Aluminum.
have aluminum powder in it for free running. So if you take that and put it in it, you then run the risk of having aluminum poisoning. Right? So you had to find a sodium bicarbonate on the shelf
That had little clumps in it.
that have clumps in it. That's one of the signs. But also outside, like Bob Red Mills has sent one mark, no aluminum salts.
Yes.
So you understand what they're telling you? That everything else have aluminum salts in it. If it's free, they just normally mark it on the box. So you have to ask yourself, why does the big organizations put aluminum salts when they know that aluminum is a poison? It has give you Alzheimer's and all kinds of crazy stuff. It has lead to that.
That's like the fluoride in the toothpaste.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was once in Miami, and one of the Baptist churches down in Homestead, they have a lot of black people living in Homestead, came and invited me down to do a talk in the church. So I said, okay, so I went down. Church was full. Big church, a few hundred people. So I said to them, I say, if you came home and you had a tin or some kind of material, right, liquid or jelly-like, and on it marks, if swallowed, please contact a poison control center, right? So what will you do? Boy, hear them. I'd cut the tail. I want to know how you could do that. And I wait until everybody think, and then I pull out 3 boxes of toothpaste. I say, read what that says on it. If swallowed, please contact a poison control center. Oh God, I didn't know that. They never read the box. They never read the box. I say, but you missed the point. I say, you don't have to swallow it, because as soon as you put it in your mouth, it just get absorbed in the lining of your mouth.
Yes.
So fluoride is poison you.
Yeah.
block up your pineal gland and all kinds of things like that, and switch out your iodine for fluoride, which is cause your thyroid to go bad. Switch it out in your breast, which is cause you to get fibrocystic breast. Switch out in your uterus and your thing, which is cause you to set you up for thing, because fluoride is not the same as iodine. Iodine is help to protect that. That's why women have a high level of iodine in the uterus and the whole reproductive system.
Yes.
They say, oh, Jews, we didn't know that. I say, well, why don't you buy a toothpaste that doesn't have fluoride? So everybody say yes, and we talk about other things. Beneficial. We see it was very interesting. You must come back and have another discussion with us. I say, okay. So about 6 months later, the lady passed my man. She said, you're free this Saturday, Sunday? I said, sure, I'll come down. So I come down and I look in this audience, right? And I said, before I start, I want to ask a question. I say, how many of you are still using fluoride toothpaste? I say, don't lie, you're in church. Put up your hand. And you see everybody watching everybody, and slowly, about 90% of the church put up their hand. I say, so all you was in here, we talk about fluoride, we talk about the ills of fluoride. You now know what it does.
They're still using it.
Hear what somebody tell me.
Convenient.
Aye, it's convenient. I say, but isn't it convenient to also read the boxes and find out which one do have fluoride and use that one instead?
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
So convenience have a lot of us sick.
Convenience wrapped with stupidity.
All right. Yeah.
You know, you had to put it, you had to,
I was in them a blind.
you get them a blind.
Yeah,
Yeah. You don't have to deal with them when they're running. Oh God, doctor.
Yeah.
My foot hurting me, my hand hurting me, my eyes going blind, I have diabetes.
Yeah. And when they're finishing the leaf here, they must be done.
So you tell them, you say, what kind of hydrogenated oil you have in your house? Well, I'm using corn oil, or say, can't use that. Go back to coconut oil. Right? You see them next time and you say, what oil you using? Vegetable oil. I say, how come you still using that? My husband say he don't like the taste of the coconut oil, and he don't care what happened to him, right? Give him the vegetable oil, right? And that same husband will come to you 2 years later with a whole heap of things, plugged arteries, and he can't move, and the bypass operation, and the bypass operation, he still can't walk properly, and he's blowing coming up the step. And now he wants you to perform a miracle. He wants you to give him something, so in a week from now he will feel good.
Yeah, like a time machine.
Because the way how he breathing coming up the step, he'll feel he's facing death in front of him. And all of a sudden, he will do anything.
Yeah.
Because death facing him. The funny thing is that if you give him something and the shortness of breath and all that stop and he start feeling good, he going back to the nonsense.
Yeah, because you can get something that you're fixing.
Yes.
Spoil yourself and fix it.
So you have a situation where you say, you have this attitude where it's the only reason that this society is allowed to poison you and make profit is because of your non-caring. Because of your ability not to take time to make sure that you eat the right thing. If everybody know that you have chicken, and the chicken has steroids and thing in it, and everybody said, we're not eating it.
They have to stop putting steroids.
Oh, they had to stop putting the steroids, and they had to put in the estrogen, and they had to prove that, otherwise we're not eating it.
Exactly.
People who think they're rich and they have plenty money will suddenly go broke.
Yeah. Because either that or like put it to somebody who doesn't.
Or
Yeah.
you start making noise about the pesticides, and then the government will have to send some people into the market to find out who's spraying what with what.
Yeah.
So that when you look at it and you say, you see in the papers, normal yearly West Indian Conference on Health. You see that? And all the ministers come down in their fancy suit and thing, and they stand up and they take out picture with each other. And we've seen about health in our nation. and all the little islands up the road dying under the weight of cancer. And nobody want to take a time out.
And the topic is what is killing us today.
Yes, and the thing about it is that you have an island and it might have 50,000 people. It's easy to take a radio station and educate them people and say, we're not importing any more pesticide, we're not importing pesticide. We will find ways to treat our insects in such a way that it, with garlic water and all kind neem water and all them kind of things, so that we don't have these problems.
True.
Within the space of a year, your pesticide and your that kind of something drop out completely.
And then you don't have to spend the amount of money that you're spending on healthcare.
When I was young and I didn't have all that, you hear people tell you, I'm now 75 years old and I never went to a doctor.
Yeah.
Because the human body with the right food and everything doesn't normally get sick. The sicknesses that we have now have to do with our own greed.
And more people died of natural causes.
Yes.
You know, they live their life and they reach to the end and then they go. Now is lifestyle diseases and all kind of scientific breakthroughs that killing people.
And then they tell you that the normal age that people used to live a long time was 35, 40 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But you have your grandmother telling you that your great-great-grandmother lived until she was 125.
Yes.
You see, they have a contradiction there.
Yeah.
The history inside here says this, and the books outside say this. So obviously there is a discrepancy.
Yeah. There is a discrepancy. And I think that the sample size, they do the research
In an area, in one particular area,
and they come up with those results and then they tell you that that's what it is.
In the Caucasian mountains, they have 1 or 2 tribes.
Mm-hmm.
And the people inside it has lived 150, 160 years.
Yeah.